Welcome to Look Around the Confederation. I'm your host for the evening, Moose. And before we get started, please remember the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor any divisions, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. How is everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We have a great show for you. We got our boys in Texas coming on tonight, and I could not be more happy. Shocker to some people. I'm a cowboy at heart, and I visit Texas a good bit for my farm. So I'm excited to hear what the Texas Division has going on. And let's see here. We got John on, Mr. Sean on, the Florida man in the house. Keith is on from the Kirby Smith Camp 1209. Mr. Frank Al on from Southern Middle Tennessee. The Maryland Division, Gilmore Camp 1388 is in the chat. Good to see all y'all. Make sure to share this out. Let's make sure all our fellow brothers and sisters of the Southland have access to tonight's video. And it is going to be a great day. And for those who don't know, tonight is the Army of Trans-Mississippi night. We do have y'all's councilman, Charles LeRae, in the chat. Good to see you, Mr. Charles. And we are going to be having a great time. As I said, we have the Texas Division on tonight. Their Division Commander, Mr. Mike. Let's breathe, everybody. Let's breathe. Let's breathe in. Let's breathe out. Make sure I get it right. He can correct me when he gets on. A lot of people have. Division Commander Michael Hurley. We're going to hope that's right. He can correct me. I'm going to call him Commander Michael. We're just going to play it safe. But for those who do not know Commander Michael is the president of the didn't realize you used your last name, which makes sense, though. He is president of the Hurrell Benefit Society, LLC. This agency specializes in individual life and health insurance and employee benefits. He is a graduate of the Browntail School of Preaching in 92. Southern Christian University in 94 with a Bachelor's of Arts in Bible with a minor in Greek. Hey, a man after my own heart right there. He is a 25-year member of the SCV and a current member of the WW Hartsteel Camp 2042 out of Marshall, Tennessee. He has served as camp commander, South Texas Brigade officer, a Texas Division officer, and second lieutenant commander of the Tennessee Division. Of course, he is the current commander of the Tennessee Division. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Commander Michael, and he's going to talk about the Texas Division.
Hey, guys. First, I want to make a couple of quick corrections, especially in light of our good brothers in Tennessee. Despite Moose's mispronunciation, I am not in the Tennessee Division. I am in the Texas Division. We love our brothers from Tennessee, but it's quite all right. By the way, we pronounce the last name very simply Hurley. So it's Hurley Benefit Services. But more importantly, let me share with you guys about why I'm so excited to be a part of the Texas Division here in 2023. As Moose expressed, I've been a member of the SCV for 27 years. And what I thought was funny is I really felt like I was properly prepared to take on the role of Texas Division Commander. But, no matter how much you think you're ready, I don't think you're ever ready until you get knee deep into something. And it's been an exciting and wonderful experience. So let me back up just a little bit. I was elected to the role of Division Commander just this past June, late June, right before we went off to the national reunion in Hot Springs, Arkansas, which was a great event. By the way, we had a wonderful time, but just in the month of late June, and it's a 2-year term. Now, I am so blessed. In fact, it's been one of the great honors of my life to be able to command the Texas Division. We're made up of 95 camps and 10 brigades, and each of our brigades has a brigade commander, a lieutenant brigade commander, and a second lieutenant brigade commander that are all members of the DEC. And then we have our DEC, because I think we're arranged a little bit different than some of the divisions. Our DEC officers, of course, that you're familiar with, Chief of Staff, First Lieutenant, Second Lieutenant, Third Lieutenant Commander, adjutant, that type of thing. So it's a quite large DEC, and it makes it a challenge sometimes to get everybody together. But I think they've gotten used to it, and we're pretty successful in doing so. Now, having said all that, I don't know about you fellas, but I want to make sure that you realize that you've caught me on Thursday night, and I sing in the world famous vocal majority chorus out of Dallas, Texas. And we're getting ready for 9 Christmas shows that start November the 30th, and I could not miss a practice. So I'm off in the corner of a practice room talking to you. The practice actually started at 7 o'clock. So as soon as I finish this up, I'm heading out to join the chorus. But forgive me for where I'm talking to you from, and forgive me for such casual golf shirt, but that's where we're at today. Now, having said that, I think a lot of us have a corporate background in our workplace. And for me, the times I've learned the most when I've been sent to various conferences is not when I hear the speakers, because the speakers give you a lot of rah-rah stuff, and that usually fades away a day or two after you hear it. But where I have tended to really learn the most, my personal experience, has been when those that do what I do sat around and shared best practices. So what I want to do tonight is that. I'm not going to share with you or tell you in any way that the way Texas does it is the best way. But I will share with you what we're doing and how we're doing it. And maybe it's my goal that you'll get just one good takeaway. You never know, maybe more than one. But my goal is for you to get one good takeaway that might help you be a better compatriot in your camp, a better camp commander, a better division or brigade commander, just wherever you find yourself in our organization. That's my goal, is to share with you a little bit of what I'm doing and what we're doing as a division, in hopes that you can glean a few precious lessons that can help you do better wherever you are as well. So when I was elected commander on a Saturday evening, they swore us in. Commander Boschers was there, swore us in. That was a real big event. The very next morning at 8 o'clock, I sent a electronic survey out to the entire membership of the Texas Division. And nobody had done that, to my knowledge, in the past. And I was really interested in knowing what our compatriots were looking for from the leadership that had just been elected. Now, we had over 240 responses that filled out the survey. The survey took about 12 minutes to fill out. So I was very impressed with the number of compatriots that took the time, because that's a lot of time, and for the information which was sent in to me as the new commander. And to be quite honest with you, Moose, what I've done since that day is everything I've tried to do as a leader in the Texas Division has been focused on what that survey told me that our compatriots really thought was important. And so I want to highlight a few of the things that they shared with me, because I suspect that the way the Texas Division felt about leadership and what leadership should be doing is probably the way compatriots feel across the Confederation. So number one, and not a surprise to us at all, but the number one need that they told us we need to be involved in from a division standpoint was in heritage defense. Now, again, not a surprise to us, but here's what was interesting to me. It was said over and over again in the comments that they're interested in attending a division-wide heritage event education seminar. But they were specific in saying that while they appreciate talented speakers, they really weren't looking for a speech to motivate them. They asked me and they told me, what we're looking for is practical information that will equip us at the local level to be able to better defend our monuments, to be able to better defend the Confederate soldiers' good name. And I think in essence, what they were telling me is we want to be better equipped at the local level on how to keep the charge. And that was a little bit surprising to me. They weren't looking for the division to come along and do the work for them. They were asking the division to better equip them. And so I set out immediately to put together a seminar. And here in the Texas Division, we're going to meet all day on Saturday, February the 10th, 2024 in Waco, Texas. And I tried to choose Waco in the sense that it was a central location, although it's a long drive for most folks, no matter where they're at, because Texas is such a large state. But we chose Waco. And what we're going to do is not simply have some talented speakers. For example, the Kennedy brothers have both agreed to come. But more importantly, and again, no knock on our Kennedy brothers, boy, they are great educators and great speakers. But more importantly, in my mind, we're going to have breakout sessions. And those are going to be led by many of the men in our division that are really putting the boots on the ground in defense of our heritage. And specifically in Texas, guys, we've got one major problem that has turned out to be a blessing in some ways. And when I say that, what I mean is the monument in Georgetown, Texas, which is not too far from liberal Austin, has been under constant attack from the BLM and the Deconfederate Texas organization out of Austin for 42 consecutive weeks. And the local camp there in Georgetown, the Williamson County Grays, which I'm so proud of, I want to definitely put a shout out to those men, and their commander, Shelby Little. Gentlemen, they have been on the square every single Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday for 42 consecutive weeks. And they have been yelled at and screamed at literally within inches of their face by some of these radicals that I know a lot of you are familiar with. But what I'm saying is I recognize that within our own division, we have some men who can share best practices and practical use on how to really confront those, how to respond to those that are railing against us, sometimes almost to the point of threatening violence. Now, I'm glad to tell you no violence has occurred in Georgetown on either side, those that oppose the truth or are men from the Sons of Confederate Veterans, but it certainly has been threatened, and it certainly has been egged on by our opponents. You know, they'd like nothing better, Moose, than to see one of our men launch out or strike one of them, because I can imagine the lawsuit that would follow. But I thought I really want to have an opportunity for us to have breakout sessions and to be able to share how they're doing things, what they've seen, the experiences they've had. And I am super excited about that opportunity because I'm trying to listen to what my division asked me and to deliver on it. Now, whether I'll do that, I don't know. Still waits to be seen starting February the 10th. But I did listen, and I'm trying to react. You know, I've always believed that a great leader is a servant leader. And that's been my goal, is to serve the Texas Division, not to be the leader that has a special neck ribbon on. Although I do enjoy wearing the neck ribbon, it's not about me. It's about doing what I can to help our division be better than it was when I first found it as division commander. And by the way, our division was in very good shape when I found it, so I'm thankful for that, but I'm trying to make us even better. So that was the number one thing. The number two thing that they responded to on the survey, Moose, that surprised me a little, was they said that the number two on the entire list was the reason that they were involved in the SCV was the comradeship and the fellowship and the friendships that they enjoy at the local level. And they also said we don't do enough of that at the division level. And they expressed an interest overwhelmingly. I had 87% of the respondents said they would come or attend a division-wide fellowship. So then the question was, how do I do it and when do I do it? Well, in Texas, just like across the Confederation, April is Confederate Heritage Month. And so I chose the 20th of April. Again, I'm just sharing with you what I've put in place, hoping one of these will help you, equip you guys out there. But I chose April the 20th, right there towards the end of Confederate Heritage Month. And guys, we are simply having a division-wide picnic. Now, I know that's nothing that's shocking. And maybe a lot of the divisions are already doing that. But Texas, because of our size, it's really prevented us from getting together very frequently for fellowship purposes. And I was amazed that 87% of the respondents said they were willing to drive to a central location to attend a picnic. So we're putting that together. And that's quite a feat because I've got people driving all the way from basically New Mexico to the center of the state. And I have all the people driving from Shreveport and that area all the way to the center of the state. So it's quite a drive, but I'm really excited about that. So that's coming up on April the 20th. The third thing that I'm putting in place is I got overwhelming response on the survey that they want to see us do more in proclaiming our heritage. Not necessarily heritage defense. That was the number one category. But number three was they want to see us proclaim our heritage and be involved in proclaiming that heritage more often. Well, in Texas, we still have a state holiday that recognizes our Confederate heroes. And it's an official state holiday. We've not lost that yet here, although it's been threatened a lot in our legislature. But our legislature met in 2023 and did not make any changes to the state holidays. So we know that for at least 2 more years, we're going to have a January the 19th as Texas Confederate Heroes Day, a state paid holiday. And so I chose that weekend, January 19th, I believe is a Friday, 20th and 21st are Saturday and Sunday in 2024. And what I asked was for every local camp to specifically go out to their local cemeteries and either do some headstone repair, headstone cleaning, or flagging of our Confederate veterans in remembrance of Confederate Heritage Day in Texas. Again, all these ideas came from the genesis of surveying our membership. And by the way, forgot to share with you folks, but I used SurveyMonkey. It's a free service, and it's been extremely beneficial to me. So I'm sure there are other survey tools out there, but that's the one that I used, and it didn't have any direct cost. And boy, I feel like it has greatly equipped me to be a better leader. So those are just some quick examples, 3 specific division-wide events that I'm putting together. Now, again, the one in January is a camp event, but I'm asking all my brigade commanders to send in pictures, and I want to post them on the website of all the camps across Texas, you know, placing flags or doing some cleanup or headstone repair. Because I think it's vital that we not only be in parades, not only hold our meetings, not only be vehement in our defense, but let's not forget also our responsibility to literally venerate and remember and flag and honor our Confederate veterans. Because that, in my mind, that's the reason I'm in this organization, is to do that. It's not anything I've accomplished. You know, if you think about it, all I did to join the Sons of Confederate Veterans was I was fortunate enough to be born in the South. I haven't accomplished anything, but our heroes that wore the gray, those in the long gray line, they accomplished more and faced more adversity and an overwhelming manpower, treasury, a Navy that blockaded the southern state, and yet they stood shoulder to shoulder, often with men from their own communities, and believed in fighting for, fighting and in defending their homes, their hearth, and their way of life. And that, in my opinion, is worth honoring. So I wanted to share that with you. All right. Next thing I want to share with you, I was super excited about, I think this one is a little bit unique as well, is right after I became commander, I was contacted. I have very strong contacts with the Texas Division United Daughters of the Confederacy. For those of you who don't know, it's not a big deal, but my wife is the immediate past president of the Texas Division UDC. And so that made me the previous first gentleman of the Texas Division UDC. And of course, I accompanied my wife to most of her events, got to know a lot of the ladies very closely. I like to think I won them over. I believe I did. Now my wife, by the way, is the 3rd Vice President General of the UDC. And so I'm very, very proud of her. But because of those relationships, after I was elected, one of the ladies that's in charge of the flag collection of the Texas Division UDC reached out to me, and she shared with me that the Texas Division UDC wanted to donate to the Sons of Confederate Veterans in the Texas Division. They wanted to donate to us 14, now listen carefully so it makes sense, 14 post-war camp flags of the UCV. So again, to make sure it makes sense, these are not actual battle flags that flew in battle before our troops, but these are the camp flags that were used between, and I'm guessing here, roughly 1880 to 1900 by the various UCV camps that were established after the war, and they were all from UCV camps in Texas. And they donated these 14 flags that I picked up about, I guess it's about maybe 6 weeks ago. I picked up these 14 UCV flags. Now, here are a couple of observations for you. First, I think it's interesting that of these 14 flags, Moose, now remember, these are the flags our veterans chose to represent them after the war. 12 of the 14 flags are battle flags, replicas of AMV battle flags. 2 of them are first national pattern flags, one with 7 stars and one with 12 stars. And here's what I want to share with you. It reminded me that those veterans are still speaking to us in certain ways today. And I was excited to see that though they've long died and been in the grave, that those camps are still speaking to us today. And what they're telling us is that that beautiful red flag with blue bars and white stars in a cross St. Andrew's pattern is the flag that they believe represented them. And, you know, I'm so thankful that we're one of the few organizations out there, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, that has refused to change our logo, regardless of the fact that it might be completely politically incorrect. Because you and I both know, here's just one more concrete historic example of our Confederate veterans saying to us, that flag is the flag of the common soldier. And it encouraged me so much to see that. And by the way, they're all beautiful. A couple of them need restoration. Several of them are in fair condition, and one has been totally restored and is already framed. And that was done actually by the Texas Division SCV about 15 years ago. Well, that's a picture of it. Exactly. That's one of the 14 flags that they sent us or provided for us. It totally turned it over to us. I was so excited and thankful. Our UDC has a very large collection of battle flags and relics that were provided to them by the state of Texas. I don't know, at least 60 years ago. And they didn't give us any of the beautiful battle flags they possess, the actual battle flags, but it was certainly nice of them to contribute those 14 UCV flags. We're in the process, by the way, gentlemen, of getting those, the condition of those evaluated. We want to get them appraised. We are in hopes of seeing some of those flags probably being donated to our museum in Elm Springs. Some of those will probably be retained in Texas and displayed in museums here. But we're just really excited and thankful to Claudia Pugh, who is my contact at the Texas Division UDC, for providing those flags to us on behalf of the UDC president in the Texas Division, Miss Luann Rubel. So I'm grateful to both Claudia Pugh and Luann Rubel for providing those flags to us. And I'm telling you, I've just been tickled pink to be able to get a hold of those flags as a part of our collection. And so I wanted to share that with you because you never know what other flags like that might be out there in the collection of other UDC divisions. And I think because they were not period war flags, that they were more interested in sharing those with us. And of course, we'll take anything, that UCV heritage is our heritage. Mm-hmm. That flag you showed the picture of, think about it, that flag's been restored and it's somewhere around 120, perhaps as old as 130 years old. And our very Confederate veterans carried that in their UCV work. And so it just really encouraged me to have a part in that. Now, I'm running short on time. So last thing I want to share with you is to remind everybody that the Texas Division is going to be hosting the 2025 National Reunion. It's going to be held in Houston, Texas, and in July. And we're so looking forward to having all of you there. So we'll have our booth set up for early registration at the coming convention in 2024. And we look forward to seeing everybody at our national reunion that we're going to host in 2025. I think I'm right up against time, Moose. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you the wonderful work that's going on in Texas. And I just want to say to all my Texas compatriots, you have honored me, one of the greatest honors of my life, to be called, even though it's just 2 short years, to be called the Texas Division Commander of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Wow. I don't feel I'm deserving, but I'm certainly thankful and grateful to be on the program tonight, Moose. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Commander Michael. next time we get you on, we'll make sure that you're not in the middle of your busy season, and we can talk a lot more because you said a lot of great, interesting stuff tonight. A lot of things I love hearing, and a lot of things that I hope to see spread to other divisions in this great organization. So I want to thank you again, Commander Michael. Thank you for coming on and representing the Texas Division. We're going to take a quick Pop-Tart break news and talk about what, of course, the Texas Divisions all said. And we will get back and have a great time. So, again, I want everybody in the chat to share this out. Let's make sure what the Commander Michael said tonight gets a great audience. Share it out. And let's start getting ready. I want everybody to thank Commander Michael for coming on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
He had a busy day today. He's about to have to leave us. So, again, everybody thank him. And let's see here. All right, everybody. It's time for our Pop-Tart break. And remember, tonight's Pop-Tart break is sponsored by the Kennedy Twins' newest book, The Jefferson Davis High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government. Jefferson Davis High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government is about how Jefferson Davis was a leader of the high road to emancipation. He looked to the day which slaves be prepared to live and participate in society. He did more, though, than advocate for the high road to emancipation. He practiced his beliefs in the ultimate emancipation of Southern slaves. And many of his former slaves left for prosperity, and their testimony about their former master prepared them to be self-sustaining members of society.
You can get I got to read that one.
I just started cracking it open. School has not been kind to me. It is phenomenal, and they have a lot more stuff in there than just what we talked about tonight. You can get the Kennedy Twins' newest book at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores, including www.scv.org and www.visitbeauvoir.org, both listed in their respected gift shop sections of their website. We want to thank the Kennedy Twins for sponsoring tonight's Pop-Tart break, and we'll be right back with camp news, and we'll talk a bit about what the Texas Division Commander talked about after this short Pop-Tart break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Again, we want to thank the Kennedy Twins for sponsoring tonight's Pop-Tart break with their newest book, Jefferson Davis High Road to Emancipation and Constitutional Government, available at www.kennedytwins.com and most online bookstores, including www.scv.org and www.visitbeauvoir.org, both listed in their respected gift shop sections of their website. What a wonderful, wonderful guest. The Texas Division is having a blast and doing a lot of great work. And again, tonight we were sadly only able to scratch the surface. I know he had a lot more planned, but he's in the middle of the holiday season. Christmas is about to be coming up. So, and doing what he has to do to go praise the Lord, I think we can all understand the fact that he has to go tonight. So we want to thank Commander Michael for coming on. And next time, I can't wait for it because I know it's going to be a blast. And I promised him we won't catch him in the middle of his busy season. So, again, I want to thank you. A lot of great ideas were put out here tonight. Again, he only talked about it for a short while, but even I could pick up on a couple things that I would like to see the Mississippi Division do, for example. And I hope you bring that to your divisions, your camps. Let's spread it out, people. Good ideas. It's one of my favorite things about doing these Army and Division updates. Good ideas. Let's spread them around. Let's not all keep them to ourselves. Let's spread the love about what other divisions are doing great. Let's give it to the other divisions and the other armies and the other camps. And we do have a couple of, let's see here, comments I wanted to bring out. One from our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshiers. He said, it's wonderful that the Texas Division SCV is working with the Texas Division of the UDC. Couldn't agree more. We're in a war for our heritage. We're fighting a cold war for it. You've heard me use that term a couple times. That simply means that we are fighting a war that will not be won with our fist and our guns because, again, the Yankees know we would win that. We're fighting a war that will be won with our mind, our actions, and our words. So, makes sense. We need to start making allies, and we need to start working together. All these great Southern heritage organizations, and we need to work together. No one organization can win this war by itself. I truly believe that. So I'm glad they were doing that. Let's see here some of the other things I wanted to talk about. Army of Tennessee Councilman Carl Jones said that the UCV flags were steel touched and carried by our veterans. That's awesome stuff, Commander Michael. I couldn't agree more. We talk about our heritage a lot in this organization because we're proud of where we came from. For those who do not know, the United Confederate Veterans Organization, or UCV, is the predecessor organization to the Sons of Confederate Veterans. The Sons were, of course, founded after, and the United Confederate Veterans left it all to us to carry on. They left it to the daughters too, but they specifically left us as a legacy organization. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I am going off, 2 hours of sleep tonight, so forgive me. Trying to get all my stuff done school-wise before Thanksgiving and hunting season comes. So I believe I am right, though, if I remember my SCV history correctly. And so that is part of our heritage. Anything UCV related is automatically part of our heritage. That was the veterans. That was their organization. And it is the responsibility of our organization not only to talk about what they did in 1861 to 1865, but from when the UCV started to the UCV ended to all of Southern heritage, because it's all under attack. And we all know how important our heritage is, and our enemies are trying to wipe us out. So it's good to hear more people talk about the UCV, because when I was little in the SCV, I'm about to do a humble brag here. I was the 7th cadet in the whole organization. So about 2007, 8, I was a cadet in the SCV. And, I heard my dad talk about it. My dad's a history nerd. We all are. My whole family is. We love our heritage, and it's never been not an issue in our family. But I'm not trying to trash talk any of my fellow Southern brothers, but, I never heard the UCV a lot outside of that. And, doing this show, and I've started hearing about it more, especially since our lovely National Museum at Elm Springs at the Southern Heritage Center added a UCV section. I hear about it a lot more. That's exciting. That's awesome. Because, Victor Smith said it. Without the UCV, there would be no SCV. Thank you, Commander. The man, the myth, the legend, the most sharp-dressed man in the SCV, past Commander-in-Chief Paul Graham Jr. It's cool to start hearing more about them. And golly, you'll hear me say this a lot, and you've probably heard me say it too much at this point, but I can't wait till I get my degree, mainly because that means I open up so much time to study so much more history. And I can finally dive into historically correct history about the war. And I'm a big American Revolutionary War history nerd, as well as our ancestors were. George Washington was on the seal of the Confederacy. And I want to start studying more about the history of our great organization. Because we are blessed that the SCV is around and we can defend our heritage. And it is a blessing that we have the right to join the SCV, because we didn't pay for it. We pay, $55 a year to help with promoting and defending our heritage. But our ancestors paid that price and 10 times worse during those 4 years. So it is a blessing that we get to be here. And I'm very proud SCV member. And I can't wait to start diving into more history of the UCV and the SCV. Maybe we'll talk about it on an episode. Who knows? But I am happy about everything he said. I love heritage defense and heritage promotions. I think there's always room for improvement no matter what you do in those areas. I love hearing about it. I think that's going to be one of those crucial things we do in the next couple of years, coming up with heritage defense and heritage promotion plans. We should always be doing heritage promotions. But the goal of heritage defense, in my opinion, should be to defend the South, our heritage, to the point where we don't have to defend it anymore and we can go on a permanent offense where we don't have to worry about defending it, because everybody knows the truth and everybody's just going to leave us alone like our President Jefferson Davis asked, because all we want to do, all we want to be is left alone. So I enjoyed hearing that. I enjoyed hearing about the survey. I enjoyed, of course, hearing about the UGC working together. I'm a big fan of that. And I love hearing about making a stronger community in the SCV. We are Southern Brotherhood, and sometimes we act like a family. And so when you fight with your family, it happens naturally. But there's always those family functions you look forward to. So I love hearing about that. I also love hearing about what was it? Yes, doing specific things in April and doing specific things in your division or camp level to just help out with promotions. Loved hearing about that. Loved it to death. So I had a great time tonight. I can't wait for him to come on, because I know I talked with Commander Michael a bit before the show, and I know he wasn't able to talk about everything he wanted to. So I can't wait to bring the Texas Division back next season of Look Around. Cannot wait. And let's see here. There he is, Commander Bo Shears. Membership in the Sons of Confederate Veterans is not a right. It's a birthright that was earned by your Confederate ancestor and given to you through the blessing of your bloodline as his descendant. Couldn't agree better myself. Thank you, Commander Bo Shears. He is elegant with words and said it. I almost accidentally said it was a right. And I knew it didn't sound right in my head because, again, I think it's an extreme blessing that we're in this organization because we didn't do anything to deserve to be in this organization. We are in this organization because of the price our ancestors paid. And the fact that it is up to us to defend their heritage, our heritage, defend what they did, defend who they are, and defend them. So I am happy that I had the birthright to join the SCV because I could not imagine spending a better way in my life than fighting for my family and fighting for everybody else's family. Because if you're from the South, you know how important family is. Thank you, Mr. Keith. There's a couple people that recommend videos, and I love hearing about them because I do like collecting them to post randomly on the SCV Chat Facebook page. Go follow us. Hey, and on TikTok while you're at it. So let's see here. Oh, I like how Army of Tennessee Councilman Carl Jones put it. Membership in the SCV is a duty. If you value our culture and the good name of our predecessors, you'll join and you'll fight for them. And I couldn't agree more. And there's multiple ways to fight. That's why I love the SCV. We are just such a diverse organization. That can be a bad word if you're crazy, like some of our enemies are. But we are. We have many people from different religions, different races, different work backgrounds, different parts of the South, which the South is a very unique culture to every state and every community. Every county in the South has a distinct culture. We have things that we all agree upon commonly. And then we have things like who has the best barbecue. I'm about to send off Councilman Jones, so I have to be careful. But it is our duty. And I love how you put that. You and Commander Boshears knocked it out of the park. I was so happy with you, Carl. Carl gonna hit me. Which is fair. I did say that the Texas division was the Tennessee division tonight. Had no recollection of doing that. And when he told me, I was like, oh man. That was just one of those moments I was like, just going to smile that one off and hope for the best. That will probably end up in the gag reel. Oh, that's joyful. That's great. Let's have it in the gag reel. Why not? But we're going to get into some camp news now. We luckily have some good camp news coming up. So I'll get into that. We can talk a bit more about our duty in the SCV because I do like that because it is a duty to join. And so I like how you put that, Carl, and Commander Boshears. So we're going to probably go into that a bit later. But first, let us go into some lovely camp news. So let me get to the bottom of my little notes here. And let me get everything ready. Oh, now everybody's fighting who has the best barbecue. Look what I did. All right, this was a Southern Cross of Honor service for a Mr. John Brown Tomlinson. Commander Boshears is in the chat, so he can correct me on this. This was his camp doing it, the Sam Watkins Camp 29. There's, of course, our executive director, Adam Southern, talking. We'll go through these pictures very slowly. Let's see here, because we do have quite a bit. Normally, I wouldn't post all the pictures sent in, but I knew we kind of had a light day tonight, and these are some cool pictures. And I get to do one of my favorite things, which is poke fun at my one of my closest friends, our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears. Please do not hurt me next time you see me. But here is, of course, our Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears, also the adjutant for his camp. This man doesn't know the definition of stop working. I don't think he computes that. I respect that. But he was also the master of ceremony. He went up there to give his speech. And then I wanted to bring some special notice to this, that the Commander-in-Chief, Jason Boshears, awarded Miss Kathy Wood the Commander-in-Chief Ladies Appreciation Medal. I want to congratulate Miss Wood on all the work she has done to preserve our heritage. So thank you, ma'am. Let's check the comments. I'm scared. Oh, y'all are all still talking about barbecue. Here is the cover. Let me move the ticker for a second. The Southern Cross of Honor Service. Mr. Joe was in the 1st Tennessee Cavalry, Company B, Wheeler's Cavalry. This was, of course, on November 12th at 2 p.m. at Wilkes Campground Cemetery in Tennessee. This is the camp firing the volley. And this is, of course, Camp Adjutant, Commander-in-Chief Jason Boshears getting up to talk again. And here's one I wanted to talk about. The Gunslinger of Tennessee, Miss Kayla Southern, giving the UDC welcome. Again, I love a strong UDC presence. Good to see everybody working together. And next up is the camp commander talking, Mr. Commander Kenneth Lovett. And here is the whole camp together after the ceremony. And look at those two on the far left. Look at that. But look at that whole group of good Southern gentlemen right there, giving that veteran what he deserves, a Southern Cross of Honor. Thank you, gentlemen. Congratulations. That's an awesome opportunity that y'all had, honoring a veteran. Isn't it amazing? I love seeing Southern Cross of Honor services. Sadly, I didn't have a couple of them for my veterans, for my ancestors. For those who don't know, my father has been doing genealogy work on my family for the past, how long have I been alive? 24 years. Yeah. So he started right after I was born, right around the time he joined the SCV, and he has not stopped since. And he found a lot of ancestors sprinkled in the South. So we drove around and we gave them Southern Crosses of Honor. That's what we wanted to do for them. That's the least we could do for them. And, went out there to their cemeteries, cleaned them, gave them a good cleaning using the CERT method, gave them the flag that they served under, and gave them a Southern Cross of Honor, and had a moment of silence just to have the impact of what our ancestors did for us and what they did for the Southland. Because being a veteran, defending your home against forces that are trying to come to destroy it, is one of the most noble things you can do. That just clicked. That just clicked. First off, thank you, Commander. Second off, you might be Commander Boshears. We don't know. Carl might be wrong. We might have to do a bit more genealogy work. I don't know how much Carl has done, though. I think, Carl, you descended to General Cooper? I can't remember. I haven't been able to go back and watch your episode from last Thursday because, sadly, again, I have just been floored. Has it been proven you're not? You never know. You never know. But, so, I am jealous that y'all got to do a ceremony. I guess that's why I was getting at with the story. Because we were traveling and because they were so far from home, a lot of them were in Texas, actually, and Louisiana, and Tennessee, and Alabama. And my actual direct ancestor is about, an hour and 20 from me? Yeah, and then I have one that's on my grandmother's side that's 20, 30 minutes from me, and we both gave them good Southern Crosses of Honor and had a little ceremony there. But the other ones we had to, because we had so many to go see, though, this was an all-round trip. Or if we were on a work trip, we would take time before we got to our job, and we would do it, usually almost being late. But my dad is precise on timing. I've never seen anything like it. He can land on the dot for a meeting at any time. It's spectacular. I wish he passed that down to me. I do not have that skill. No. I'm just doing what I love, and I love my history, and I love honoring my history because they deserve it. And it's just fun. I get to remember someone that might have been forgotten, sadly, because my family has a couple branches, not the Dawes line. It's kind of direct, but some of my other family married in, stuff like that. General Cooper. But maybe someone who hasn't visited them in a while, I got to visit them and make sure they're remembered and make sure I pass that on to the next generation. That's still far off. Don't get any ideas. Let's see here. So General Cooper was known to hog all the brisket bones. So all I'm going to say is, doesn't that sound like Commander Boshears? I've known him to hog a brisket bone in my life. Oh, I'm still his aide de camp for a while. That's going to come back to haunt me at reunion. Let's see here. Good evening, Mr. Rob. Well, Mr. Joshua, I hope you get that chance because it truly feels spectacular to accomplish it. And, if there's anything we can do at SCV chat, or if you need help contacting SCV camps to maybe help you out with getting your ancestor a footstone and Southern Cross of Honor, let me know. We're happy to help and try to maybe coordinate. I don't know if Thomas, I haven't heard from Thomas Franklin in a while, actually. I have to make sure he's still alive. He hasn't posted on Facebook or called or texted in a long time. Hasn't been on the chat in a while. I'll have to check on him. He kind of got me worried. But we're going to jump into some other news real quick from Maryland. Let's get this lovely picture up. So, on Saturday, November 11th, the Maryland Division SCV Color Guard marched with the Captain Vincent Camler Camp, 1359 in Maryland, in Leonardtown, Maryland's Veterans Day Parade. There was over 175 groups participating. It is the largest Veterans Day parade in Maryland. The Maryland Division Color Guard was led by Colonel Sergeant John Zebulon, and was loudly cheered by hundreds of spectators that lined the parade route. Man, I love the Maryland Division Color Guard. They send in so much stuff. They're so active. And that is awesome. You're honoring our veterans, and you're getting out in the community and making sure the community knows we're not ashamed. they shouldn't be, and they can come up and talk to you. And you can be a spokesperson for our organization at that point, where you can tell them about who we really are. And you can let the community know we're not going anywhere. We're going to be here defending our heritage. So thank y'all. Sounds like y'all had a fantastic event. Congratulations and day. So they will be next week. Let's see here. The Color Guard will be participating in their final event of the year, Remembrance Day Parade at Gettysburg. Wow. Y'all get around. Let's see here. All right. Let's see what Commander Boshears have to say. I'm going a little blind right now, I have to say. Commander Boshears said, I am blessed to have my Confederate veteran, Private Jason Wilkes Boshears of the 48th Tennessee Infantry buried 2 miles from my house, and I will be buried 30 years from him in the same cemetery. Thomas is apparently just not texting me. He met with Victor, and then he's doing Jason's genealogy. I didn't know Thomas did genealogy. I'm glad you said that, Commander Boshears, because I'm not going to lie. My brain didn't pick up on what you were putting down there. And that's on me. What he meant to say, so I don't butcher it. Commander Boshears said, I'm blessed to have my Confederate veteran, Private Jason Wilkes Boshears of the 48th Tennessee Infantry, buried 2 miles from my house, and I will be buried 30 yards from him in the same cemetery. That is awesome. That is definitely awesome. See, my ancestor is buried. I can tell you exactly. I have it in my GPS saved at all times so I can go visit him, because it is hard to get to my direct ancestor. So he is an hour and 32 minutes away. He's in an old private doll cemetery that is kind of out of the way. And it's a very small family cemetery. There's no room. Or sadly, I would try to get buried there. Because I think it would be an honor to be buried next to him, or buried just in the same cemetery as him. But I think someone came to this side of the house. But that is awesome, and that's such an honor. I know you feel honored to have that blessing to be buried next to your ancestor, Commander Boshears. Mr. Bog says, my ancestor is over 500 miles away, unfortunately, but I do hope to be buried there, though. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I hope you get that chance. Here I am, complaining about 80 miles, and yours is over 500. Wow, that's crazy. I try to go visit my direct ancestor a lot, and my one from my grandmother's side a lot. He's about 20 minutes away, I think, in Alabama. But I try my best to visit them as much as I can, just to check on them. My direct ancestors kind of tricky to visit because of my old family private cemetery where it is. We don't own it as a family anymore. It got sold when we moved, I'm guessing, to where my family currently has set its roots. But let's see here. It's just weird. I'll have to explain it another day. It's a weird situation, but it's awesome both ways, Commander Boshier said that Thomas gave him the money to give you with tip and interest. He never forgets a favor. No, he doesn't. He still gives me spam, and I bought him spam one time. He is sad. You know, for those who don't know, poor Thomas showed up a week late to the election where Commander Boshiers was elected that year in 22. Wow, it feels like it was so close, but yet so far away at the same time. He showed up a week late. He was there the week of the election, but he thought we were all there early too. And he actually got to see Commander Boshiers, then Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief Boshiers. And I think he gave you a can of spam. And I got to talk to him, and that's when I gave him a can of spam as well. And Thomas, God bless him, I don't think he had any idea that we were all there for the reunion. He did not. Didn't even think to ask him why he wasn't showing up to the meetings. And I thought he might not have been feeling well, stuff like that. Nope. He was out enjoying Georgia. He went to Stone Mountain and had a fun day at their park and just was having a great time. And then a week later, bless his heart, he wanted to host a dinner for Commander Boshiers, show his support and to just have a lot of us, that Southern Hood, the Southern Brotherhood community to get together. But he did it a week late. No one came, and he was very confused. He also had it at like 2 a.m, which was weird, I think. But you might be able to see him this upcoming reunion. I heard he's going to try to make it to this one in South Carolina. Hopefully so. I miss you, Thomas. It's been a long time, brother. Let's make sure that next time we meet, I get you a can of spam. You can get me a Barks root beer and a pizza. All right, we're going to go on to our last bit of news and kind of wrap up for tonight. I didn't realize how long I've been talking. Again, make sure to share this out, especially if you're from Texas. Let's get that all around Texas, and then let's get this all around all the armies and all the divisions. Great stuff was talked about tonight. Last bit of news comes out of Florida. And they had their first official friend of the SCV join. You'll notice that old Victor Smith, the camp commander, gave me a pronunciation. I will say I will take out pronunciations in the future. I will keep them on a list beside me so I don't mispronounce something. But I wanted to keep it in for the fact that Victor knew that I was going to mess the name up. And so he put out how to say it. But if you send something like this from now on, I will take it out. I just wanted to mess with Victor a bit. But real quick, let's talk about it. The Private William Riley Milton, Camp 741, proudly welcomed their first official friend of the SCV, and Mr. A. Peter. Let me say it again because I might have cut out. My internet's a bit spotty right now. They welcomed their first official friend of the SCV, Mr. A. Peter Ardito, on November 14th. Congratulations, Mr. Peter. I'm so happy you've joined us as a friend of the SCV. I know you are a great addition to that camp, and I know that they love you, and they are appreciating everything you're doing for the cause, sir. Welcome, and I can't wait to hear more about you. That officially does it for the news tonight. Let's see here. Victor. I'm in shock because I'm hearing some breaking news. I'm a little confused about it, though, considering that Thomas is in the Army of Tennessee. Why is he starting his own army? That's my question I'm going to have to throw out there. So Thomas is apparently going to start his own army in the SCV. I don't know how you even do that. Don't you have to have the GEC's permission in like a couple divisions? I'm a smidge confused, I'll admit. Commander Bashir says he has a lot of supporters, but hasn't said anything to him about it. He's been very busy. That doesn't shock me because, again, he hasn't been on the show in a while either. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked, Victor. But what would he name the army, you think? Carl's pretty close with him. So is Commander Bashir's. I would love to hear if he's pitched a name for the army. I would love to hear it. Oh, we do have a Texas man here, Mr. Rob. Mr. Rob, please share this out, sir. Oh, you heard it from Commander Bashir's. Commander Bashir's has well, actually, he might start. He is the son, a friend of the son of Harold Philpotts. And for those who don't know, Old Junior is located in Canada, and I don't know if we have a army that covers Canada. I think we just cover. Actually, I can tell you how much we cover. Right, there's how much we cover. Now, we do leak over a bit in Europe. I can't remember. I think it's the Army of Trans-Mississippi that leaks over, maybe. But I don't think we have any leak over in Canada. I think there's just like one or two camps. So I don't know. He might be starting with him. I heard the son of Harold Philpotts is actually wanting to get more involved again. For those who don't know, his father, Harold Philpotts, great guy, did a lot for the SCV. Australia is in the Army of Trans-Mississippi. Okay, thank you. But, so what happened is Harold Philpotts, great man in the SCV. I can't remember which army it was, but I think he might have been an army commander or councilman. Served 2 terms. Did a lot on the national and local division SCV, but I can't remember what division he's from. I'm kind of drawing a blank right now. But he did a lot. He traveled a lot. And then I think as he got older, I think his ancestry was from Canada. And so he moved his family to Canada when the son of Harold Philpotts was very young, or maybe not. Maybe he just moved up there with him. I can't remember the details because I've heard this secondhand because I've heard of Harold Philpotts and I've talked to his son, but I really haven't. I don't know him, and I don't like putting words in people's mouths. But I know they did move to Canada at some point and started an SCV camp up there. I think it's our only camp in Canada. And I can't even remember the name of the camp. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the camp, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does that because Thomas met the son of Harold Philpotts at that Georgia reunion, actually, where he, God bless him, he showed up a week of thinking it was next week, and they actually became good friends, I think. Brazil's in the Army of Tennessee. The UK's in the Army of Northern Virginia. Thank you again, Commander Gramling. So I guess that confirms that there's no army for Canada. So I'm guessing he's starting his own army for Canada. That would be crazy, though. I do know the son is still a member because he'll send in some camp news every once in a while. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I know because he's a fan of the show. He watches the show. He just doesn't comment much. I do know that he's still a member, Carl. I don't know about Thomas. I don't know if Thomas renewed, but I'm sure they did. I mean, they are all pretty hardcore SCV members. The son of Harold Philpott's kind of like me. I'm not really trying to brag, but for story purposes, I'm a 4th generation SCV member. He's a 2nd. And so I know he feels a strong connection to this organization. With him just being in Canada, he feels like he can't get involved like he wants to. Sucks. I wish he could. I know he'd be a great asset for whatever division, or if he goes on the national level of the SCV, I know he'd be a great asset. It's going to be in his blood, I think. But he was supposed to be a guest a long time ago. For those who don't know, he's going to come on and give us information about his father and kind of have a story about that, focus on an SCV member. The thing I said early on tonight, I want to highlight SCV history some. And so he was going to come on and talk about his father. And that is where the infamous Pop-Tart break happened. So the son, old Junior, every night at 7:35 p.m., he takes a Pop-Tart break. Well, he doesn't take a Pop-Tart break. He called it a Pop-Tart break that night, and he eats a Pop-Tart. So what happened was he actually showed up late to the show, and we had him in the backstage area, and we were waiting for what we then called our commercial break. And he calls me live on air. You can go all watch this episode. I answer it. He's like, hey, it's about to be 7:35. Yes, sir, it is. I hate to tell you something. I eat a Pop-Tart every night at 7:35. Okay. I thought, like, again, eat a Pop-Tart 5-10 minutes. I was like, okay, you can come on at 7:45. We can throw you on for 15 minutes. You can just come say hi. And like, no, like he sits down with his wife and watches TV with her at that point, eats a Pop-Tart. Don't know where that family tradition came from. Don't know it at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he's watching with his family. He's contacted me a couple times and just told me that he loves watching the show with his family, and we love being that for y'all. We love being a part of your nightly routine and being able to watch us with your family. Carl's right. We do need to reschedule him. We never did. It's kind of hard because how our episodes fall. Every night we're going live at 7 Central Standard Time. And so it's hard for him. But we'll have to bring him on at 7 on the dot. Kind of like how we had to do with Commander Michael tonight because he had something. We're going to have to update how we do the schedule. I don't know, Mr. Rob, what type of Pop-Tart it was. He just told me that he was doing it and he apologized and kind of, left at that point. I saw him leave the screen. A very sharp-dressed gentleman. But yeah, we need to reschedule him. I haven't talked to him in a while. I'll have to call him either tonight or tomorrow whenever I kind of finish up my schooling, I guess. Yeah, you are right, Commander Gremlin. He probably does toast his Pop-Tarts, and so that's probably why it took so long. Or he made it seem like he wasn't going to be able to make the show afterwards. So that could be it. But I'll see if I can talk to him if we can bring him on. But we are running super over time because I got to talking with y'all about some of my favorite people because Thomas is hilarious. I mean, y'all seen him on the show. He's a class act. He's hilarious, very funny guy. He never fails to bring a smile to my face. And the few times I've talked to the son of Harold Philpotts, he's been pretty funny too. He's kind of he has a dry sense of humor. He does. Thomas is more like hit you in the gut laughing, like you'll be crying. Trust me. If y'all ever see him, you got to hear him talk for a bit. Fantastic. I want him in the oratory next year, actually. I'll try to convince him. But we are running a bit over schedule, so let me do a couple housekeeping things, and we will end tonight's episode. So let's go into it. Let me make sure to do all this. Normally, I'd have this already. He, like a younger Phil Robertson, Commander Gremlin. He does like having, Thomas likes having the long beard and long hair. But I want to thank you, Commanders, for both years. I did have a great time. Again, I want everybody to thank the Texas Division Commander, Commander Michael, for coming on. He was slam packed, and he still wanted to share some things he was doing in the Texas Division, and he wants to come back and do it again and have a much longer episode. So please share this out. Please send it to your friends. Watch it. Let's give some of the cool things he talked about tonight out to other places, because I think he had a lot of great ideas that I definitely want to see spread. But thank you all for tuning in to tonight's episode. And remember, we will be back Monday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. What do we have next week? Let's see here. If it's the third Monday, I know who we have. I don't know if we have an idea of what we're doing that third Monday, Mr. Host. Do you have an idea of what we're doing next Monday? Because we haven't talked about it yet. Normally we plan these episodes out like months in advance, and then there's sometimes we completely not wait last minute, but forget what we've agreed upon because of that. But make sure you send your pictures, short videos, and write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you'll be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. Send all your camp news you can. Next week on Look Around the Confederation, we'll have the Army of Northern Virginia on. So make sure to tune in for that. Make sure you share this out. And make sure you tune in Monday, man. Carl says we're talking about Dixie Monday. Yeah, tune in. Make sure y'all, of course, share this out. I'm glad y'all had a great time. I had a great time as well. Much needed break from my schoolwork. And until the next time I see you, remember, my friends, to stay Southern. And I'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.